So let's go ahead and do this one. And we had a 1 in 10 chance and we failed. If you've been watching my Planetfall series, then you know that this is just my life. Hello everyone, my name is Gracie and welcome to episode 1 of this Let's Play of Rogue Lords. Now, I had an episode 0. If you didn't see that one and you want to know what the heck is going on, you're going to want to go and watch that one. It's part of this playlist. This is the one where we're going to start playing. We're going to start getting some of the story through these chapter progresses, and then we're going to start doing some combat, and this will be the combat tutorial episode as well as we'll just start playing. I don't know how long this series is going to end up being. It kind of depends on how quickly I get my butt kicked. It could be as little as a couple of episodes of gameplay, so we might have episode 1 and 2 and then I'm dead. I don't know. We'll see how we go. So let's head on over here. By the way, I've switched over to Bloody Mary as my favorite character to run around as her for a little bit. Now, this is probably going to have a fair amount of voice acting, so I'm just going to let that play out just so you can experience the deep, dulcet tones of the devil's voice.
My disciples go to the home of a poet suffering from creative impotence. Apparently, this insignificant individual had received a visit from the Sanctualumen, an occurrence that immediately aroused our interest. Hoping to find here the point of departure in their quest for the Claw of Geryon, they enter the run-down hut and find a young man ferociously tearing up pages covered in crossings out. He unquestionably bears the mark of Geryon. He tells us how men of the Sanctualumen suddenly burst in, took the claw, and immediately left for the town of Perret. That is where my disciples will go.
Alright, so we need to get this Claw of Geryon, and the Sanctualumen has taken it, and the Sanctualumen is one of my main enemies here, so we need to go to this town of Perret and get the get the Claw from the Sanctualumen.
Ah, screams of terror. Such sweet music to my ears.
So now this is some terror effects. So that happened because of completing that chapter, so it just gave us some terror. So what's going to happen is these 3 buffs are going to be distributed, and it's even pointing to it on the map, to this, and this node. So the first one is going to have no essences consumed for the first use of the Devil's Power, which is something I haven't really talked about yet. No essences consumed, and upon arrival in the zone, the Devil receives 10 essence and max essence. So these are great options. I'm probably going to go with this max essence one. So click, so it's going to throw those on there. Now at any point, we can click on this map and hover over things, and it shows us what the event, like what the node is, and then what the terror effect is. I'm interested in going to this one, so I'm just going to go to this combat, and then we'll have these 2 choices, just in case. Once we completed this event, the ring goes away, we can move on, and now it shows our 3 choices, so we just have to left click and hold to just run where we want to go. As far as I can tell, there aren't any like secrets or anything like that hiding out and around here. Like I don't really ever find anything, so it's kind of like what I was saying in episode 0 is it's neat that you can run around, but it's kind of pointless. There's not really anything hiding anywhere. I mean, I don't dislike the visuals, but there's not really any substance to this part, unfortunately. So once you get close to one, if there's a node modifier, it will also appear here, which is very, very helpful. So we'll show you that in the next one. So let's head on up into combat. So now once you cross over, you can't go back. So you can see I cannot go back down into the node I was just in. The map has updated to show that I'm there. So here's our node.
What a charming valley. My disciples will have to fix that.
Now there's no side things to do here. Otherwise there would be a bluish circle around something that we could choose to do. So this will be our first combat. So let's go on in. This is a seedy inn. Now, when we do combat, you will always have these 3 choices. Now, if you do a frontal attack, you will get more terror. So you're just bursting in and causing as much fear and chaos as possible, so you generate terror. And that will add more of these effects to further nodes. And as your terror goes up, you'll get additional bonuses, like you might find some skills, or relics is what they're called in this game, artifacts, whatever you want to call them, as like powerful items. So terror is a way to get skills every once in a while and some powerful artifacts. set up an ambush, we're guaranteed to get a skill at the end. And that's so that we can either get more copies of a skill we have, so it upgrades, or we can get new skills that we haven't seen yet. Or we can attack discreetly to get currency for the soul so that we can buy stuff. Now, these are all great options. We do have a shop coming up pretty soon, and then not another one for a little bit. So I think in this case, I'm actually going to go with attack discreetly. We will have to fight 2 waves of enemies, but we can handle it. So this will give us 32 souls. It's possible we find other stuff after the combat as well, but these are the guaranteed effects. So let's go with the discreetly.
Heads will roll tonight.
All right. So our first fight is against the Single Mercenary. Now this guy's a little bit uncommonly powerful, but it looks like he comes in with a little bit of a debuff to his attack and defense. Yeah, first fight, reduce the damage inflicted by enemies by 2. So yeah, this guy's got actually a fair amount of health and spirit, which is interesting. So he is going to attack for 3 damage times 2. So you can see if you hover over him, it shows who he's targeting, which is very helpful. This is an AoE, so that means we can't taunt that off of him. And it also shows the damage that we're going to take on our characters if we do nothing about it. Down here, we have our 5 action points, and we can click on any one of our characters.
Get my hands dirty again.
Either by here or by clicking on them here. And then you have all of their skills available. Now, these are the empty slots that we don't have skills in yet. And these here are our different abilities we have, and then this is our recharge skill. You can also see their buffs over here. So, for instance, the Headless Horseman has 1 bitterness. Each time he receives damage, he increases this by 1, and when he gets to 5, he can use this really powerful devouring charge. Taunting is not going to be useful, so instead, we're going to head on over to Mary. Now, she has this Twist of Fate, reduce the impending attack by 2. So if this guy's going to do 3 damage twice, if we hit him with this... So now he's only going to do 1 damage times 2. So 2 damage on each of our characters is extremely negligible. That's great, especially because your characters will all heal back up to full after every fight. You only need to survive the fight. You don't need to conserve resources, health, or anything like that. Other than this Diabolic Essence, this is the only thing that you have to watch out for carrying over from fight to fight. If this ever runs out, again, you lose. So now we've got his attack reduced. You can see it's over here. He's got an alteration. Oh, and I should probably mention, you see how this has a specific color, alteration? And then something like this, the bleeding is in red. That's because the bleeding is a weakness. The alteration is a special. Characters cannot have more than 1 of some of these types of things on them. So this is a control. So if I put this control, exhaustion, on this character, and then I had another purple skill that was a control, it would replace that one. So you have to be very careful. I accidentally did that in my last playthrough. I had like a bunch of different damage over time effects that were all red, and I couldn't put them on characters at the same time. They would cancel each other out. So you do have to watch out for canceling your own effects. I wish you could just stack stuff up like crazy. It would be really fun, but unfortunately, I think the game is trying to balance it around having a manageable number of status effects because there are already a lot of them as it is. So what do we want to do? We probably want to get some bleeding on there. I don't think we even have any other ones. Yeah. So let's get a bleed on there. So he's taking a little bit of damage, and then the next time he uses an ability, or a skill, sorry, he's going to take a little bit of damage, and then it's just for the 1 turn. Now, we've got this mask. I've never used this before. I want to try this out. Put on the Mask of Torment. Yeah, I can't put it on others, right? No, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so she's got the Mask of Torment on. At the end of the turn, inflict 1 times 6 spirit points on the enemy. So I think this is permanent until she takes the mask off. And then what else can we do? We have 1 point left. Can't use that one. We've used... Yeah, okay, so it has to be this 3 to 5 SP. Oh, that was cool. So now we're out of action points, and it's time to end the turn. So you can see because he used a skill, the bleed triggered, and I think it triggered a bunch of times there because of the fact that he attacked multiple times a bunch of different people. So I think that's what happened there. I think because he attacked 2 times on 3 characters, which is 6 times, I think the bleed triggered 6 times and nearly killed him. So this is what I was talking about last episode with the Death's Door type mechanic, like from Darkest Dungeon. Whenever any character, including your own, gets down to 0 health or 0 SP, spirit points, they don't die. They need to get hit one more time, and they will die at that point. So that's why attacks like this one here that does 2 times 3 to 5 damage are so powerful for you and dangerous when the enemies are using them. Because this will like this, you know, if this is upgraded, you can get a unit low enough to get to vulnerable and then also kill them with a single action. So we're going to go ahead and do that now to just finish them off. Stab him with our mirror. Now we have a second wave in this combat. So here we're looking at a privateer, some sort of pirate mercenary type character, and a medium. Now here's where I want to show off how the devil powers work. It's very fun. So the medium has Aegis, reduces the loss of HP by 6. So that's interesting. So you can see this little shield symbol by her health bar, which is reminding us that if we try to attack her with physical damage to her health, it will be reduced by 6 for every instance. A lot of skills may not even do enough damage to get through it. 2 times 3 to 5 won't even get through this Aegis. But we're the devil, so we can cheat. So what we can do is we can click this.
Let's get down to business.
And you can see everything freezes in place. And I can do all sorts of interesting things here. For instance, I don't like that she has this buff. I'm going to give it to the horseman. And that will cost me 5 points. I can just steal that buff away from her and put it on one of my characters. So now he's going to lose less HP per attack. This will cost me my devil points. And again, this is also my sort of health, so I have to be careful with spending this, but this is a great, great tool. Now, I don't want to do that one because I'm just not going to attack her until this wears off. Another thing I can do is, and you're not going to believe this, I can just change this person's health bar. I can just take 16 health off of her for 4 points. And now she's vulnerable. I can just do that. I can do whatever I want. I can actually increase my own character's health bar. I can heal them. I can remove buffs. I can even reset cooldowns without using the recharge ability. I can just say, no, I want you to have that skill back right now. I can kill them with this spirit stuff. And the more it is, the more points it's going to take, just so it's balanced. You know, I think it's 4 per 1 point. So, you know, like this is going to be 6, I think.
Reality
Yeah.
is but a toy to me.
Very, very, very fun. And I was blown away when I first saw this, is that you just... The game even calls it cheating. They're like, you're the devil. You can just cheat. And it's just such a cool system to be able to do that. So now all we have to do is hit her with anything and she will die, as long as it does enough damage to actually get through that 6, which I'm sure we can find something. Here's 7 to 12. There we go. So all I had to do is spend 4 of my points and 1 attack, and I killed a unit from full health by cheating. So it's just such a cool thing. And if you get debuffs on your characters, you can be like, nope, I want you to have them. You can just put them on the enemies. It is just fantastic. You can even do stuff like I could taunt with him and then put his shell and provocation or whatever on a different character if I wanted to. It's so cool. You can trade buffs around, trade debuffs around, all sorts of really cool stuff. So for the rest of this combat, what do we want to do? She's going to do some sort of penalty. I don't know what she's going to do, unfortunately. So let's do something like this exhaustion. Reduces by half all of the damage inflicted. It's probably only for 1 turn, but we're running out of skills that are available. So let's go ahead and do that.
I was having fun with you.
And then we do need to recharge. So we could either leave the mask on to do the extra 6, or we could recharge, or we might recharge with him to get him another bitterness point. There we go. So now he's up to 4 bitterness. So now we're going to end turn. She takes mask spirit points damage. So she has fractured us. So we have increased the HP suffered by 3. So we will take extra damage. You can see she's going to do 7 damage, but it would steal 7 damage health from us, but it would deal 10. And again, we could go into devil mode and just give her our fractured buffs or whatever. I think you can get rid of them too, but I don't remember how you just get rid of them. Pretty sure there's a way to just get rid of them, but I'll have to figure that out. But I'm not going to bother with that because we can just beat her this turn. So if we recharge our skills, it will activate the mask and then take it off. So that puts her down at vulnerable, and then we just hit her with dread.
Those who do not submit must die.
All right, first fight, easy peasy.
Finally, fresh souls to torment.
So we found some souls. That'll be good. We'll have a little bit of spending money for the Grim Reaper when we get up there. Now that we've completed our combat, we can actually move on to the next area. Now, there are a couple of things we can do with the Diabolic Essence that's not a combat thing. One of the most important ones is that if we go to the map and we're like seeing that we're coming up on a node with that we really don't want to do, like an elite combat, we just don't think we can handle it, or there's a debuff on it. Like, this terror is good for us, but there are also bad things. The peasant mobs essentially can sort of band together and cause you some trouble. So what you can do is you can go into the devil mode,
Get down to business.
and I could open a portal to this node instead. So instead of going to the two here that are actually linked, I could open up a portal to a different node and travel that way. Very, very cool. And it doesn't cost that much. It's 6. I mean, it does add up over time, but to avoid something terrible that could kill you, yeah, I'll spend 6 on that. Very, very cool system. I can't gush enough about what a cool idea it is to just build in cheating to the game. And I was avoiding showing you this before, but here's where you can see it. So if you go to the devil, you can spend the Diabolic Essence to add or subtract 4 health to allies and enemies. Remove a vulnerability status from a combatant. Oh, remove vulnerability. That's so if they're on death's door, essentially you can give them some positive health. But that costs more than just the one. Like, better to heal them before they get down that low. We can move statuses or swap 2 stats of the same category. We can recharge skills. We can add or subtract chances of success for a social chance. We can create a portal to another area, and we can replace secondary activities with another. So in the first episode, when I talked about that elite combat I found that I didn't want to do, I actually lied about that. I didn't avoid it. I just used the devil power to randomize that into something else, and I got like a shop or something, which I was like, oh, great. Okay, I'll just go to the shop instead. Very, very neat system. So let's move on up here. I want to go here. No essence is... No. We wanted to do this one. The devil receives 10 essence and max essence upon arrival. So we'll go up to 60 instead of 50 max.
Be on your guard, disciples.
There we go.
Even you are not impervious to the snares of this swamp.
So now we have more... I mean, this is also our health, so this is really cool. We have more energy to play with for the cheating, and we also have more energy to not die. So here we have an event. We'll take a look at how these play out. So what we've got here is a sanctuary. Now, we have to complete this to pass along. Now, we choose a disciple to pass social tests and receive associated traits at the end of the event. So there's 2 things you want to look for here. One is if the White Lady completes this event, she will gain +3 to her scare down here. She will receive +1 to spiritual damage she deals, and +4 at max HP. Each person is going to receive a different buff. So we may look at this challenge and say, which of these bonuses do we want the most on the character associated with them? The other thing you have to pay attention to is up here. It says at least these characteristics can be encountered in this event. So we don't know what all this event will entail, but we do know occultism will be one of the choices at some point. So we may want to look down through here and say, okay, we've got a 4 occultism, 2, 2. So those are really bad. Those chances of success, 2 and 2. So maybe we want to just take the White Lady, because at this point, an occultism of 2 is so bad that we don't really expect to win without cheating heavily, which we could do. So I think we'll take in the White Lady here with the chilling gaze, so she can get scare, and spiritual damage on here is actually great because all of her attacks do that. So buffing that flat amount would be really fantastic. So let's take the White Lady.
Indeed, this is no task for a peasant.
So your disciples point out a charlatan's stand. I don't know why. They think they sensed a real relic mixed in amongst useless baubles. That's why. So here's this little kind of graphic novel style background where you can hover on over the unit and click on them. As far as I know, there aren't really more than just the one thing to click on usually, but I appreciate that they took the time to make these cool animated backgrounds. You can also click here to get a little bit more information about the scene if you're interested. Usually there's just one more thing. A horde of mortals is attracted to the stall like bees to honey. You can't be sure if it's the traces of magic in the air that fascinate them, or if they're really stupid enough to believe the lies the charlatan is feeding them. So I'm going to click on this character. White Lady eyes the charlatan's trinkets with interest. We could seize his wares, curse his wares, or try to do this easy challenge. Identify the nature of his wares. Now, with a 60% chance, it's not great, is it? So what I might do here is cheat. I can increase it by 30% for 5 points. I'm just going to do that.
The dice were loaded from the start.
And then the devil says the dice were loaded from the start, usually when you do that, which I love that he says that. It's so funny. So let's go ahead and do this one. And we had a 1 in 10 chance and we failed. If you've been watching my Planetfall series, then you know that this is just my life. The White Lady focuses on the stall, but the magical presence is too vague. Impossible to know if there really is a relic among all that junk. It was below me anyway. You couldn't terrify anyone with a face like that. Come back and address me when you have the appropriate title of peerage. What?
I'm too old for this
Uh-oh,
nonsense.
so she failed, so she got simpleton. She lost occultism.
My punishment.
And the Headless Horseman got minus stealth.
I'm too old for this
And she got
nonsense.
-2 temptation. So now we can go back and try one of these other two options. We failed the good one. So we could seize them or curse them. Let's take his stuff. I'm mad. We seize all of the charlatan's goods, including the relic hiding amongst them. Terrified mortals take off running, but he doesn't get far. Your disciple uses the impromptu chase to try out her new toy. In seconds, the charlatan's body has been annihilated. My God.
These relics will only make our conquest more bloody. Perfect.
Now, unfortunately, no, we don't get all of his. We have to pick one. Now, this one here has the White Lady's portrait next to it because this is a relic specifically for her. So double the levels of White Lady's masks. That's cool. Infernal privilege. We also have a glass shield. All your disciples gain plus 20 max HP and SP. Your current and max diabolic essence becomes 30. Ah, that's interesting. Corrupted talisman. All of your disciples earn plus 3 damage, but your current and max diabolic essence becomes 30. Very, very cool that you can sort of take that hit, but make your units very powerful. I think in this case, I'm going to take this mask because that sounds like a really fun thing to play with. So let's grab that.
You have to know how to prod destiny in order to remain powerful.
So we have gained the Chilling Gaze trait, so we have Scare, Spiritual Damage, and Max Health Points. So I'm hoping that that means that this will not do 3 to 5 anymore, but will actually be 4 to 6. We'll have to wait until we get in combat and see if that actually works that way. But you can see now she has a couple of negative traits, so she's really bad at some of this stuff now, which is really unfortunate. Headless Horseman got the Fortune Teller, which lowered his stealth. He was really bad at that already. So that's not too bad. There are ways to purge these. Can you do that from... Can you purge negative traits with the devil? I don't think you can. No, you can't. There is a way to do it, and it's from these Styx fountains here. So that's probably where we'll have to head next. Seeing that, we'll want to go to this node so we can go to the Styx fountain and clear some of those. So let's head on over to the Grim Reaper. We'll show you what that looks like.
This forest isn't so terrifying. Not yet.
All right, so if we head on into the Grim Reaper, in the secret meeting place hidden from mortals, your disciples meet with the Grim Reaper. It's time to do some business. You can get a little more information if you want. Numerous eyes observe you from underneath the Grim Reaper's hood. You have no idea what he does with all the souls he collects, but as long as he respects the deals he makes with you, it's not your concern.
Ah, a conductor of souls. All those innocent souls I harvested will finally be of use.
So there are 3 sections to the Grim Reaper. We have artifacts up here that we can purchase. They're typically pretty expensive, of course. There are skills for the characters, and they usually go, they go in increasing cost. And then we also have the skill lending thing I was telling you about in I think it was in episode 0, where you give him a skill and he takes it and then he gives it back to you next time, but it's more powerful, it's upgraded. Really cool. You can see here these artifacts are actually specifically for the Headless Horseman. Let's see, what's this one? Each time an enemy dies, the Horseman receives 4 bitterness. It's not bad, but yeah, it's not that great. After each combat, the holder's max HP and SP permanently increases by 2. That's a need. That would be cool to get early, but we just can't afford it, and unfortunately we can't sell stuff either. So what we might do here is, if you, and we could go into the spell book from here, which is a fantastic quality of life thing that they've put in here, is I can go in here and take a look and see, you know, I have 1 stabbing, I have 1 dread. So, like, if I were to buy one, I would have 2 copies, but that's a good thing, because once you get 3 copies of a skill, they combine into the next level. So that's one way to upgrade skills, is by buying multiple copies or finding multiple copies. The other way is to give them to the devil, the Grim Reaper, and then there are also other ways to find skills and higher quality skills, but we haven't come across those quite yet. So we have the stealing card here. Becomes quite powerful. We have, this does damage, I think, to all enemies. It's not very much HP damage, but it does hit all of them. We have stabbing, and we have the dread card. Steal, yeah, we do have this card, I think. And then inflict 3 to 5 SP to all enemies and apply exhaustion. Reduces by half all the damage inflicted. Now that seems like a good card to me, because that is while not a lot of SP, is a debuff to all enemies to make them deal half as much damage for a turn. That sounds very important, and it's only 2 action points to use, so I think that's kind of a no-brainer. So then we can go ahead and put it here, confirm. Really, really cool. Okay, and then so I think I want to go ahead and ask the Grim Reaper to hold on to a skill for me. So what skill do we want to hand to the Grim Reaper for a little while? So we just bought this new skill here that's going to give the exhaustion out. That's very powerful, and I could probably get away with not using it in the early game, so this was actually a decent choice to hand over to him to upgrade. The other thing we could do is give him one of these other SP ones, and then he can return that to us more powerful. Now this steals SP, applies exhaustion to 1. This applies it to everyone. So I think for now, this is Mask of Torment, which triggers 2 times, and we have a thing that doubles it. But if we give this to the Grim Reaper, we won't have this mask for a little bit. Considering that we got that artifact that does that, this is probably very important. So I say we give him the mask, even though it's sort of our whole shtick is the mask. But if we give him the mask, then we'll get, I think, quite powerful once we get it back. So let's do that. We'll survive without it. So now we can quit. We've used up all but 5 of our souls, so we can't afford to do anything now anyway. So what do we want to do? We want to go to the Styx fountain, I think, and cure some of our stuff that we've gotten messed up with, our negative traits. So I'll show you how that works, and then I think that'll be the end of this episode. So let's head on over to the Styx fountain. Now we have a extra activity here. So this is half asleep travelers, so we could fight some half asleep travelers here. The tutorial, I'm pretty sure, tells you that you have to do the side thing before you do the main thing, but I did not find that to be the case. I tested it, and it did work that you could do it in either order. So I'm going to do it here and just make sure that it works that way. So let's go to the Styx fountain. So obviously the river Styx is the river that flows through hell, and you have to cross it in order to get to the underworld or whatever. So here's you can smell the noxious waters of the Styx even before you see the source. We can get a little more information. The waters of the Styx bubble up in the form of fountains at certain spots spread around the world. You can use its waters to regenerate your diabolic essence or purge your disciples' negative traits. So in this case, you can only withdraw energy from this source 1 time. Your disciples assemble around the altar awaiting your orders.
The waters of the Styx offer invincibility. I need more.
Now we can get plus 20. We only need 9, and even then we're still 1 point above where we started the game. So let's remove 1 negative trait from each disciple. So let's see, I think this was the Headless Horseman and this was the White Lady. So we still got 1 negative on the White Lady, unfortunately, but not so bad. And so now we're able to go over here and do this fight, which I'll probably do just to get some extra resources and or skills or terror or whatever it is I end up wanting to do. So we will look into that on the next episode because we're all out of time for this one. So I hope everybody's enjoying this series so far. This is a very interesting game, and I think that it definitely needs some serious balancing, especially like the later enemies just do not feel fun to fight because they hit like trucks. And you have to cheat to survive. But it's such a great idea, and I love so much about the aesthetics of this game. So thank you so much for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see everybody in episode 2.